I'm Robert Sturdy, MEP for Eastern Region. Eastern Region covers from the North Sea to the M1 and the Wash to the Thames. I'm here in the European Parliament, and over the next coming months we'll be discussing issues such as pollution control, which is an environmental issue. We'll be looking at agriculture, changing the common agricultural policy as we move forward to a new intake of members in June when the European elections are. Some of the legislation I passed, and we look at this plenary here, this is where we sit and vote in the European Parliament. Some of the legislation we passed has had a direct effect on you, and therefore I really mean this. It's so important you go out and vote. Vote for whichever party you want, but make sure you use your right to vote, because the legislation that I and other members of the European Parliament pass directly affect you, and therefore you have the right of a say in the way in which that legislation is implemented. For example, we've just passed some legislation on pesticides. Pesticides levels in foodstuffs, which is a bill I took through about 9 months ago. We've been looking at water quality, surface water quality, particularly important, for example, to the Norfolk Broads. We've been looking at legislation on sheep tagging. This is a way of tracing sheep right across the United Kingdom. And of course we have Suffolk sheep, we have many farmers who have sheep within the Eastern region, so it's important to them to make sure they get their message across. Other issues such as to do with international trade. I am a member of the International Trade Group, I chair the Interparliamentary Group. These have again a direct effect on you. International trade is one of the issues which we can use to ensure more open trade, but importantly it will help us take us out of the recession that we're in at the moment. Trade and free trade implement jobs, opportunities, and therefore that's particularly important to you in the constituency. I look forward to the June elections. I look forward to you taking part in the vote and making sure you pick the members who you think can best represent you. We'll have a new Parliament, new ideas, new Commission, 27 member countries in the group, in the whole of the Parliament, and possibly new countries coming in the coming years. Well, I became involved in politics about 25 years ago. I'm a farmer, and politics directly affect me. They affect my business, they affect me personally, so therefore I suppose even before that, with the National Farmers Union, Young Farmers, all non-political in terms, but a very political organisation. I got involved with those. And then a few years ago I decided that I would like to put something back into society. I actually applied to be a prison visitor, but the government in its wisdom turned me down. So I ended up actually being a politician. And the great thing about politics is, actually, one of the greatest things about it, I'm being totally truthful here, is to be able to actually do something which actually helps people. I know politicians have got a bit of a dirty name for taking everything, but if I can do something which helps a constituent, it's extremely rewarding. And there are a number of cases where I've been able to directly help people that have had problems, always of course connected with Europe, not connected with the United Kingdom, because I have no real powers in the United Kingdom. It is our Westminster members that look after issues concerning home. But when it comes to issues concerning anyone in the European Union, and often even further afield, I can have direct access to member state governments, other member states, members of Parliament, MEPs, so therefore I can actually work with them to help my constituents. I enjoy being a politician, I enjoy the work here, and I enjoy working with my constituents. One of the things you don't realise about being an MEP is the travelling, and for you, for most people rather, it's when you travel on holiday it's exciting. For me it's like getting on a bus at Clapham Junction or a train. I have to sometimes be in 3 or 4 countries in one day, and travelling can be extremely tiring, and it can be I suppose, boring because you're spending an awful lot of time sitting in airports or on trains. However, the highlights of being an MEP are being able to help people, being involved with the community, being involved with some of the real serious leaders, meeting people like Mandela, the Dalai Lama, the Chinese president. And I always remember when I was in Hong Kong, sitting next to the finance minister at a dinner, and we were doing a centre-right dinner the following evening, and I took the liberty of inviting the Chinese finance minister, who I think was probably the farthest from being centre-right, to come and join us. Fortunately, he declined the offer because I said that there would be a few. The Australian minister was coming, and one or two more right-wing people. But nevertheless, it is a fantastic experience to be able to meet these people and have open and frank discussions with them. Whether, of course, you would have an impact on somebody like the Chinese leader is very doubtful, or Chinese trade minister is very doubtful. But at least I've had an opportunity. But without doubt, the greatest thing that I enjoy, the thing that I enjoy the most, is working with my constituents. I love it when they come out to the European Parliament, they see it. I've just had a young lady from DEFRA who's come out for the first time to the European Parliament and seen how it works. I hope more people from the constituency will come out to Europe and see how it works. You can make a judgment on whether it's good or bad when you've actually been out here and seen the work we do. Sometimes the work is non-productive, sometimes it's very productive. But as I say, helping constituents, working with them, is very rewarding.